Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, what started as calls for the Virginia governor to resign have expanded to the entire Virginia executive branch. We'll bring you the story next.
And it's been warm and mostly sunny this week in Rockbridge County. Isabel Chiodo will bring us a full weather report later in the show.
City construction has taken over the main streets of Lexington as the city replaces 60-year-old water pipes. Reporter Jimmy Mack Johnson will bring us the story.
And reporter Grayson Duran will talk to us about the Natural Bridge Zoo and what one animal advocacy group is accusing the zoo and its employees of. All that and more next on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Good evening and welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Catherine Young.
And I'm Sophie Badani. While Donald Trump declared the State of the Union is strong Monday night, the state of the Virginia Commonwealth is not. Unprecedented in Virginia history, the top 3 officials in the executive branch are in the spotlight, each with their own scandal. This all started last week when Governor Ralph Northam's 1984 medical school yearbook page was uncovered. It featured an image of 2 men, one wearing blackface and the other in a KKK outfit. Northam has since apologized and insisted he isn't in the photo. Omar Jimenez reports.
Northam has no plans to resign, but if he did, he would be succeeded by Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax, who now faces a sexual assault allegation. Quote, what began as consensual kissing quickly turned into a sexual assault. Mr. Fairfax put his hand behind my neck and forcefully pushed my head towards his crotch, claims Vanessa Tyson, whom he met at the 2004 Democratic National Convention. Fairfax released a statement in response, reading in part, at no time did she express to me any discomfort or concern about our interactions.
Do you think Mark Herring should resign?
Then there's Virginia Attorney General Mark Herring, the next in line to the governorship, admitting Wednesday he too appeared in blackface at a party in 1980.
This has obviously been an extraordinarily challenging week for all Virginians.
And within these controversies are heavy political implications as well, since the third in line to the governorship is a Republican, which would flip control of the governor's mansion. I'm Omar Jimenez reporting.
Kirk Cox is the third in line for the governorship. If we go back to November, you might remember that the Republicans maintained control of the House of Delegates by 1 seat. The race for that final seat was tied, so it was decided by a random drawing, allowing a razor-thin Republican majority and Cox to be appointed Speaker of the House.
2 southern banks with multiple branches in and around Rockbridge County are planning to merge. BB&T and SunTrust banks are planning on merging in a $66 billion deal by the end of the fall. The merger will give the new company more than $400 billion in assets. There are 2 BB&T branches in Rockbridge County as well as a SunTrust branch. Nationally, the 2 banks have around 740 branches within 2 miles of each other. BB&T Chairman and CEO Kelly King said the companies will be careful and methodical about which branches they close. King will serve as chairman and CEO of the new company until September of 2021. Current SunTrust chairman and CEO Bill Rogers will serve as president and chief operating officer before becoming CEO following King. He is expected to become chairman 6 months later.
United Kingdom Prime Minister Theresa May is struggling in what may as well be a large ping-pong game between the UK and the European Union. After working for months with the EU on a Brexit deal, the UK Parliament rejected it and sent her back to Brussels to work out a new deal. But now that may not be possible, as the EU now says they won't renegotiate.
President Juncker underlined that the EU27 will not reopen the withdrawal agreement. The 2 leaders agreed that their teams should hold talks as to whether a way through can be found that would gain the broadest possible support in the UK Parliament and respect the guidelines agreed by the European Council. The Prime Minister and the President will meet again before the end of February to take stock of these discussions.
Developing this afternoon, the Senate Judiciary Committee approved President Trump's nominee for Attorney General and sent the nomination to the full Senate. William Barr served as Attorney General between 1991 and 1993 under the late George H.W. Bush. Barr is set to replace former Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Sessions was pushed out by Trump last year amidst Special Counsel Robert Mueller's probe into connections between Trump and Russia. Questions arose during Barr's confirmation hearings on whether he would impede the release of Mueller's final report, but he has said he will be as transparent as possible. Barr is expected to be confirmed by the Senate, who will make its vote next week.
Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey and freshman U.S. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez introduced a new bill intending to transform the economy and combat climate change. 5 Democratic hopefuls for president are co-sponsoring the resolution, including Kamala Harris of California, Cory Booker of New Jersey, and Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. Critics say it is unlikely the resolution will make it out of committee, but Markey and Ocasio-Cortez remain hopeful. Both gave remarks today supporting the resolution.
Today marks the dawn of a new era of climate action. When we look back today, this will be the moment that we will be able to say that the political tide has turned on the rising seas. We are reclaiming our leadership on the most important issue facing humankind. This is the new climate democracy, of the people, by the people, for the planet.
And so we're here to say that small, incremental policy solutions are not enough. They can be part of a solution, but they are not the solution unto itself. There is no justice and there is no combating climate change without addressing what has happened to indigenous communities. That means that there is no fixing our economy without addressing the racial wealth gap.
Lexington business owners are complaining about construction crews who've been replacing water pipes on South Main Street. Jimmy Johnson III is live downtown with the story. Jimmy?
Currently, I'm on South Main Street, the latest section of a 10-month project to undergo cutting, digging, and installation of new water pipes. The project began in residential areas, but now business owners are starting to feel the pain. Business owners don't know what to expect when they come into work each morning. Gaping holes are appearing in front of restaurants and stores on South Main Street. University Florist co-owner Carolyn Tolley said her store did not have water for 3 hours on 2 separate occasions in January.
We lost $582 just last week on the day that we had no water.
To make matters worse, Make It So owner Acacia Mullen said dirt and gravel were tracked into her store.
Maybe thought that somebody could have come around and let me know it's going to be in front of your shop.
I mean, are you buddies with the elephant?
Day. There hasn't been anything like that. There hasn't been anybody talking to me about how the water being shut off for half a day would impact my business.
Lexington City Communications Director Meredith Warfield said business owners were notified at the beginning of the project.
I feel we did upfront provide as much communication as possible. We're always here to help and respond to people and business owners who are having issues, and we do try to fix any problems as quickly as possible.
Mullen said she would have liked adequate notification from city officials to prepare before construction popped up in front of her store.
I think we all feel that it's going to be good at the end. We feel like the city needs the improved infrastructure, but it's giving us all some headaches.
The city's water pipes are over 60 to 100 years old and burst over 30 times last year. Construction to replace the system on Main Street started in October.
Construction is currently between West Nelson and East Washington. The city says at least 7 more water outages are planned. The construction is on track to end in July. Live from downtown Lexington, I'm Jimmy Johnson III.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, an animal advocacy group is filing a complaint with the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services over the living conditions of Natural Bridge Zoo's elephant.
I'm Isabel Chiodo. We've had an unseasonably warm week, but will these high temperatures continue? I'll show you, coming up next in my weather report.
Animal advocates are calling for officials to inspect the living conditions of Natural Bridge Zoo's African elephant, Asha. The Animal Defense Partnership filed a complaint on January 27th with the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. The advocates want Asha relocated if the zoo fails their proposed inspection. There are 2 accredited elephant sanctuaries in the United States, one in California and one in Tennessee. Check out Grayson Duran's full story at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
Isabel, I never really know how to dress when it's raining but also warm.
I know, it feels like we're in May right now. I cannot believe this weather. What do you think, Isabel?
That's right, we got a little taste of spring this week with temperatures in the high 60s, but sadly, guys, it's not gonna last. Let's take a look at our numbers. Wow, we have a beautiful shot of downtown Lexington. So these are the warm temperatures everyone's talking about. We have a high of 66 and a low of 48. The barometric pressure is 29.98 inches of mercury, and the wind speed is only 7 miles per hour. But the humidity is 79%, making it feel much stickier out there. On the radar, not much, a little bit of clouds, but the sun is peeking out everywhere, so it's not complete cloud coverage. Let's look at the regional temperatures. So we're mostly in the 60s, except for Roanoke and Lynchburg, where we're in the low 70s. And Covington is 62, but the humidity is up to 96%. Charlottesville is in the low 50s with mist and fog. Let's look at the 5-day forecast. So here we see Friday, the low is going to drop all the way down to 23 and the high 53. We'll see a little bit of sun, but mostly clouds. Saturday and Sunday, finally some good sun, but it will still keep dropping down to the low 40s. But the low will lift up on Sunday. Monday, we're still seeing more rain, high 46 and a low of 30, where if it does get down to that low 30 at night, there could be a little freezing rain going into Tuesday. Back to Sophie and Catherine.
Coming up, a judge announced he is releasing documents on the raid of Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen.
We in Alabama. It's still cool to kill a black man. Still cool. And it's still, you take us back to the civil rights.
And we hear the response of the father of a man shot by police in Alabama after the attorney general says he is not pressing charges. One Boy Scout is borrowing a controversial move from Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick started a movement of people kneeling during the national anthem in response to police violence towards minorities. During a Durham, North Carolina City Council meeting, 10-year-old took a kneel during the Pledge of Allegiance, shocking many present. Amy Cutler has the full story.
Cub Scout Pack 451 joining us tonight to lead us in the pledge.
As the Pledge of Allegiance started during Monday night's Durham City Council meeting, you can see 10-year-old Liam Holmes in the back drop down.
What I did was took a knee against racial discrimination, which is basically what people are mean to other people of different colors.
His dad, Scott, snapped this photo. He says he talked to Liam about it beforehand, but wasn't sure if he'd follow through.
When he did it, I was really surprised and also really proud of him.
What was the reaction in the room when you did it?
No one even seen it. No one saw it except the people who was watching. And the mayor noticed, and he thanks me.
But not everyone shared that opinion.
It just blew my mind that this was, Cub Scouts and politics.
Brandon LaRoque, a lifelong scout and veteran, heard about what took place and reached out to CBS 17.
Part of the Scout Oath is to God and your country. And I understand people have the right for freedom of speech. I just don't understand why it has to be during the Pledge of Allegiance.
Some people might say, they don't support what you did.
Well, those people just don't listen.
An Alabama police officer will not face charges for shooting an armed but innocent man during a Thanksgiving shooting at a shopping mall that injured 2 people. 21-year-old Imontic Bradford was shot 3 times in the back as he fled the scene. The officer told investigators he considered Bradford a threat because he saw him running towards shoppers while carrying a gun moments after a shooting. The state's attorney general found his actions were not criminal. The victim's father says he's going to continue fighting for his son.
We in Alabama. It's still cool to kill a black man.
Still cool.
And it's still, you take us back to the Civil Rights Day, bull collar. You turn the water hose and the dog loose. You ain't no better than him.
Tell the hose.
You think I'm gonna let it go? It ain't over with, boss. It ain't over with at all. My son was murdered. And you think I'm gonna let it go? And you still got this clown on the payroll at Hoover? All of y'all wrong. My son was murdered. That was a homicide. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the bottom line, I'm going to have my justice for my child, and you're going to deal with it.
A judge confirms that federal prosecutors in New York are still investigating campaign finance crimes committed by President Donald Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen. The investigation relates to when Cohen paid 2 women to stay silent about alleged affairs with Trump. U.S. District Judge William H. Pauley III agreed to release in several weeks some court documents related to the search warrant that authorized last April's FBI raids on Cohen's home and office. Media organizations had requested access to the records. Pauley said some documents should stay secret because making them public could jeopardize ongoing investigations, including those related to Cohen's campaign finance crimes. This news comes a day after the House Intelligence Panel pushed Cohen's appearance on Capitol Hill from Friday to February 28th. This is the second planned meeting Cohen has had with a House committee that has been postponed. Facebook is pushing back against a German ruling that could make it harder for the company to combine data from all the services it runs in order to target ads even more precisely. German antitrust authorities ruled Thursday that Facebook was exploiting its dominance in social media by forcing users to allow data collection on other Facebook-owned services like WhatsApp and Instagram. The data is then used to produce targeted ads. The ruling says Facebook should have to get consent separately before using customer data from other apps and websites. Thursday's ruling, though aimed at current practices, hints at potential troubles ahead if Facebook follows through with plans to integrate the messaging functions of WhatsApp, Instagram, and Messenger as early as next year. Bill Cosby has been moved to a general population unit as he serves 3 to 10 years in prison for sexual assault in Pennsylvania. The move last week came after the 81-year-old actor spent about 4 months in special housing. Cosby, who is legally blind, now has a single cell in a 2-story unit at the newly built prison in Montgomery County. Prison spokeswoman Amy Wordson said other inmates are assigned to help him throughout the day. A jury last year convicted Cosby of drugging and sexually assaulting a woman at his home in 2004. He is appealing the conviction. Cosby says he doesn't think his wife and children will be visiting him in prison. According to the spokesperson, he doesn't want them to see him in the prison environment.
Federal prosecutors charged a Brazilian man living in the U.S. illegally after he sent a letter to immigration authorities warning of an armed attack on a Boston school. Clebio de Lima lives in the Boston suburb of Quincy and was charged today with making false statements to federal authorities. Immigration Services offices in Boston received an unsigned, handwritten letter in Portuguese last February. It said a man named Mario had purchased 2 guns and was planning on an attack on the school. It was determined that the allegations in the letter were false. During an interview with agents in September, the 43-year-old de Lima denied any knowledge of the letter. Scientists think they have achieved the first gene editing inside the body, altering DNA in adults to try to treat a disease. But it's too soon to know if this will help. Preliminary results suggest that 2 men with a rare disorder now have a corrective gene at very low levels. This may be enough to make the therapy a success. Gene editing is intended as a more precise way to do gene therapy. This therapy enables scientists to disable a bad gene or supply a good one that's missing. Trying it in adults to treat diseases is not controversial, and the DNA changes do not pass on to future generations. Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, strapped for cash in a high-rent city, some LA residents are bunking up together in pods, an increasingly popular co-living community concept.
And the Perry McClure boys and girls basketball teams are on a roll this season. They are undefeated in conference. Coleman Martinson will give us a full sports update after the break.
We have breaking news. Sears and Kmart have hopes of avoiding bankruptcy. Today, a judge approved a $5.2 billion plan to keep the stores open. Officers at a Virginia jail are investigating an inmate for suspected drug distribution after finding cocaine inside his prosthetic leg. The Freelance Star reports officers found 3 to 7 grams of cocaine inside the prosthetic. They were investigating a tip about drug stash in a Rappahannock regional jail cell. The outlet did not name the suspect because he has not yet been charged. The search warrant affidavit says the inmate's girlfriend collected drug payments from other inmates via the mobile app Cash App, but it remains unclear how the inmate got the drugs into the jail. Coleman, we are mourning the death of a Major League Baseball icon. Tell us more.
That's right, Catherine. MLB legend and Hall of Famer Frank Robinson died today at the age of 83. Robinson made his mark as a professional baseball player, but his place in sports history extended far beyond the batter's box and base plates. He became the first black manager in Major League Baseball when he was hired by the Cleveland Indians in 1975. He later managed San Francisco, Baltimore, and Montreal. Robinson hit 586 home runs in his professional career. He was fourth when he retired on the career list behind only Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, and Willie Mays. Now, he is ranked 10th. Robinson is the only player to earn the MVP award in both the National League and the American League. He had been in failing health and in hospice care at his home in Bel Air. In local sports, many basketball teams around Rockbridge County are celebrating their seniors this week with senior nights. The Rockbridge County High School girls team had theirs on Tuesday night in a contest against Harrisonburg. The team lost 56-63. But senior Jordan Dunn scored a career high of 23 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks on her big night. The Rockbridge County High School boys varsity basketball team fell to Harrisonburg on Tuesday night as well, 49-52. Both teams are gearing up for the Valley District Tournament, which will start this Friday with quarterfinals. The Rockbridge County boys enter the tournament as the number 3 seed. They won last year. They will host the number 6 seed at home tomorrow night at 6. The 6th-seeded girls will travel to play 3rd-seeded Broadway at 7 tomorrow night. The Perry McClure girls basketball team celebrated their seniors last night as well during the game against Craig County. They won 40-13. Seniors Megan Dunlop and Peyton Moeller have joined the 1,000-point club this season. Moeller is also the program's all-time leader in assists. The Perry McClure boys team beat Narrows 69-53. The team will have their senior night at home tomorrow night. Both teams are unbeaten in the Pioneer District this year and will enter the district tournament as the number 1 seed. They will receive a bye to the semifinals, which will be next week. The Washington and Lee men's basketball team beat Eastern Mennonite last night 94-66. The men will take the floor again on Saturday for their senior night against Ferrum. Now, over the local swimming. Perry McClure's freshman Kinsey May will advance to the Class 1 state meet. She placed 5th in the girls' 100-yard freestyle at the Region 1C, 2C meet on Thursday at the Christiansburg Aquatic Center. The top 6 swimmers in each individual race advance. Freshman teammate Taylor Ann Cash placed 8th in the girls' 100-yard freestyle and 9th in the 50-yard freestyle. These are the only 2 swimmers on the girls' team. That's the last splash of this pool of sports. Back to you guys.
When you're strapped for cash, you've got to make some sacrifices. That's exactly what pod share living is about. Sky High Rent in California is popularizing co-living communities like this in the LA area. They're tiny spaces where each renter gets their own pod, bunk bed, TV, storage space, and options like an overhead chalkboard to personalize the area. Residents at PodShare Venice have community bathrooms, kitchens, and living spaces. All that is shared for a monthly rent of $1,000. Other co-living spaces offer different amenities like private bathrooms and bedrooms and bath. But as expected, that'll cost extra.
That's all for the Rockbridge Report. Thanks for watching.